Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and I am really excited for today's show because we're talking about email. And you know how much I love talking about email. And specifically, we're going to talk about a little hack that I want everyone to apply when they're in the middle of a promotion as a way to kind of not feel bad or not feel guilty about emailing your list a lot. So I'm going to talk about that. That's our goal because I want to make sure that you're feeling perfectly happy, perfectly content to send emails to your list during a promotion. Because I've jokingly taken to saying this as my new catchphrase, stay calm and send another email. And so I want you to feel comfortable doing that, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, I don't have anything that this episode is brought to you by, but head over to my website, bobbyklink.com, if you want more information. I've got a free privacy policy. I got a lot of great resources that you can get there. And most importantly, if you're not on my email list, you can actually go ahead and sign up for my email list and start getting some of my wacky emails and see what I'm doing in email marketing to help you figure out maybe what you can do to improve yours. So with that, what I want to talk about is this notion of how do you get comfortable emailing early and often and late and often and often and often and often during a promotional period. And we've always done something to help with this, but we kind of perfected it a bit even more during a launch we just finished, and it's what brought this topic to mind. Specifically, yesterday, Thursday, was the day that Cart closed on an affiliate promotion we were doing with my coach, James Wedmore, for his program, Business by Design. And he does a 4-day cart open, which means like you have a very limited period of time to convert people. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think short cart open periods work well. But it means that you're going to be emailing a lot during that cart open period. I don't know how many times we, emailed total during the launch, but it was a lot. And so when you're doing that, anytime you're doing a promotion, what's going to happen is you're going to have people who don't want to hear about it. And that's fine. But what I want you to get is, I mentioned that kind of one of my mottos is now stay calm and send another email. And that's one of my mottos because candidly, what I have found is that in a launch, almost invariably, when I send another email, I get another conversion. Maybe it's a purchase, maybe it's someone signing up for a webinar, maybe it's whatever, and you'll think, maybe I should just send one more. And that extra email tends to do some good. And, sometimes it's an email to your list. What I'll tell you is sometimes you're going to get scrappy and send messages to people that you've been talking with more directly, et cetera. But that's different. But I'm talking about the emails to your list. Oftentimes you don't even recognize or realize the people who are on the fence and might buy, and it might literally just be that one extra email. As an example, one of the emails that I sent during this recent promotion for James's program was like, I said, I don't remember what the subject line was, but it was like, I want to introduce you to Wonder Dog. And it was talking about my dog, Lucy, who we adopted about 10 years ago after she was hit by a car. We adopted her from family after she was hit by a car, and there were huge medical and vet bills, and that was part of why we did it, and then it's been an ongoing cost. And so the concept was basically expensive but worth it. That was the notion of what we did and kind of why, of what the email was. And the concept was, yes, BBD is expensive, but it's worth it, right? So that was kind of how I tied it in. I got an email that said literally that email sealed the deal for someone because she related to my story about my dog because she had actually, adopted a dog or done something where she had to do something similar and had to have these expenses. So again, who would have known that telling the story about my dog and adopting her 10 years ago would be the thing that would push someone over the top? So with that, you need to be comfortable sending a lot of emails during a launch. And you're going to get uneasy about that, right? Because you're going to feel like you're bombarding your list. You're going to feel like they don't want to hear it. You're going to have all of those limiting beliefs. And what I'll tell you is there's some truth to that, right? Some of it's not a limiting belief. And what I mean by that is to some extent, some of your list doesn't want all those emails. And that's okay. So the hack that we have always used is in our promos, kind of after the PS line, at the bottom of the email, we put a little blurb, and sometimes we do it as a PPS line, or sometimes it's just a blurb that says, hey, look, if you don't want to hear any more about this promo, but you still want to stay on my list, click on this and we'll take you off the promo list. So it's a way for people to self-select and say, well, I still want to be on your list, Bobby, because I like your wacky, crazy emails, but I don't want to be on this promo list. So we did that. I mean, that's something we have always done, and you should always do that as well. And that, I believe, is a very, it's just best practice that everyone should be doing. And so that's kind of the I don't want to say industry standard, but a lot of people are talking about that in the email marketing world, that you should do that during a promo. And I agree wholeheartedly. I teach it inside my Badass Email Marketing that you should do that, etc. But what I want to talk about is going a step further than that. And the reason I want to talk about that is, candidly, my confidence was kind of shaken a bit. And it was shaken because on Wednesday night, so 3 days into the active sales period, like, we sent an email, and I mean, I got some, like, again, they're not my people, so I shouldn't have let it bother me, but I got one profanity-laced email that literally said, that I am the worst person to ever exist. Apparently, according to this person, I'm worse than Hitler, Stalin, and anybody else you can mention, but, you get the point. But basically just blasting me, and then I had 2 other people emailing me and say, unsubscribe me, never contact me again. Again, they didn't want to just click on that little button, but whatever. So my confidence was shaken, and I was like, man, I was worried, because I had been hitting my email list hard. So we decided to do something even more creative. Our first email on cart close day was, and if you're on my list, you got it probably. It was literally, it said this. It said, I think the subject line was, today's the day to unsubscribe, ... And we literally said, we got meta, we broke the fourth wall, and I said, look, today is cart close day on James Wedmore's Business by Design, so I'm going to be emailing a ton. Now, if you don't want to get that, that's cool. We can still be friends. Click here. And so I literally put this right up at the top, right up at the beginning, because again, the problem with putting the thing at the bottom, right, with having the cart open, with the opt-out as a PPS or some blurb at the end of the email is, look, most people just don't even get there. Now, some people, maybe if you train them in your audience, they know that's there, so they'll go down, etc. But most people aren't going to do that. They're just like, oh, another promo email, so they just delete it if they don't want it, which means you're going to continue to sending emails to them. And our plan yesterday was to send 5 emails. 5 emails on cart close day. And so I knew, like, if people were tired of hearing about it and didn't want to hear it, and especially if they're on other people of the other affiliates lists, they were going to get bombarded. And so I wanted to make it very quick, very easy, very simple for them to say, yo, I don't want to hear any more about this. Cool, let me click it and be done. And we did that. And we had a ton of people click on that button. And some people might be like, oh, no, you don't want to do that. But yes, you do, right? If 200 people on my list, or I don't think we got quite that high, but, a large number of the people on my list actively said, I don't want to hear any more about this. I don't want to email them. I don't want to send them the other 4 emails I'm sending that day, because then I'm literally just annoying them. And so this is something, candidly, this just happened in the last 48 hours where we've done this, but I'm actually going to figure out how to do this and work it into launches generally going forward, to literally put the call to action up at the top, not at the bottom, just saying, if you don't want to hear about this crap anymore, just click this button and I'm not going to email you about it. That way, I have a way to really selectively market only to the people who want to be marketed to. Because that's what we should be doing. We should always be focusing on marketing to the people who want to hear our message. Because look, if someone had already decided, I am not buying Business by Design, period, and Bobby, I don't want to get your emails about it, I don't want them to get my emails. Now, some people, and I'll tell you this, I literally had some people tell me, like, they'd already decided not to buy, but they wanted to keep getting the emails because they keep my stuff as email swipe. That's cool too. But I want to allow people to self-select and make that decision, because when you do that, again, if I do that very clearly and like someone had like responded to my next email with profanity-laced thing, I would have been like, okay, just read a little bit and then, you don't. So I want to give that option. So we're going to figure out a way going forward in our business. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not going to do it in every email and promo. That's not going to happen. But This is going to be something that we are going to work into our promo sequences with more frequency, more regularity, so that it's probably not just once, again, depending on how many emails we're sending, because I want to give people that option. I want to only be talking to them if they want to hear it. And you should have that same approach. Now, again, you want to be careful probably about putting this at the top, let's say at the very first email you send in a promo, because people maybe haven't yet figured it out. And ironically, someone who clicked on that opt-out from like the bottom of the email way early in the promo sequence came back. I mean, this was like before we even got to sales. Back when we were promoting the free video series, actually came back and bought and said, oh, I accidentally clicked on that. I decided I wanted to buy. So that's why you want to be careful about it up front. I won't put that very front of the email thing in like the first email in a promo sequence. That's for sure. But I know one thing for certain. It will probably become a staple of the first email I send on Cart Close Day going forward, because I'm going to hit people hard with emails on Cart Close Day, and I want to give people the option to say, I don't want it, I'm done, and not get those emails. Because, look, the point of email marketing isn't to annoy people, right? That's just obviously what we're not what we're trying to do. So that's my hack. It's something that literally came to me, and I decided I wanted to do today's episode about it because it's something that gave me a lot of clarity. And again, like once we drafted up that email, and again, you're hearing this, interestingly, hopefully this is hitting for you as well. We were live writing most of the emails during this promotion. A couple of them were maybe written in advance, but we were feeling the flow, et cetera, because this is what, this is kind of my zone of genius. And Katie on my team, she's gotten good at it, and so she can help me, do first drafts and things like that. So we were live writing based on what was happening in the launch, et cetera. But once we wrote that first email for Friday, I felt much better. Like, I felt good. I put a typo in accidentally after Katie had drafted that top part. I put me instead of my at some point because I was editing it at 7 a.m. on Thursday. But at any rate, it just gave me peace that I was like, okay, yeah. Now, if I put this right up front on the first day email, or the first email of the day, I'm not going to feel bad about emailing my list. So I want you to do that. So the general point, the general piece of advice here is that when you're in a promo, you should always have that blurb at the bottom where people can opt out of getting your promo emails. But what I'm going to encourage you is, especially if you're going to take my advice and really email often and hit, kind of get into people's inboxes over and over again and adopt this notion of stay calm and send another email, you might want to consider putting a blurb at the top of the email and making it fun, making it cheeky, make it interesting, so you're not like just boring about it, but like what we did where I literally said, today is the day to unsubscribe, right? It fit with my brand, fit with my voice, etc. But doing something like that periodically should give you the peace of mind that people can't be mad at you for the emails. So that's it. That's my call to action to you. Think about implementing that as part of your email marketing strategy. That's it. I'll see you again next week for another episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast.